What's up guys, Tony Hannity's here from Lazy Tech TV, and if you are looking for a brand new phone but you don't want to spend over $500, $600, $700, $800, there are a ton of phones that are just under $400, and this is one of them. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Honor 8. Stay tuned. So if you caught the other video, I actually did another segment on first impressions and a first look at the Honor 8 when we had the event here in San Francisco, and I had a great time. And after actually taking a look at this phone for the last 2.5 weeks or so, I've got to say majority of my concerns and majority of my accolades regarding this phone are pretty much the same. So let's talk about the specs of the phone itself. On the outside, it's a single unibody device. So in regards to having a removable battery or anything of the sort, modularity, modifications, you don't have anything like that with this phone. However, even though it's $399, it is a solid build. It's a metal build all the way around. It feels very good in the hand. And unlike some other phones that are in the $399, $400 arena, it doesn't feel cheap like plastic. I think by now we've got away from plastic, and we can now relish in the fact that there's so much capability that is available to the companies that are out there to make solid aluminum or just metal devices, and this is definitely one of them. The screen on the outside is a 5.2-inch display, and it's not 2K or 3K, it's just going to be 1080p. But really, I mean, if we're being honest with ourselves, 1080p is really all that we need. And because it's only 1080p, the battery life is considerably better than some of the other devices that have better quality screens, even with better battery. You've got your volume rocker and power button on the right-hand side, as it should be. You've got expandable storage with the ability to have dual SIM, depending on which country you're in. And also on the bottom are the headphone jack, it's still there, and a USB Type-C connection. Now here's the rub about the USB Type-C. It is USB Type-C in regards to being able to charge it, regards to being able to transfer data between this and a computer, but with respects to the proprietary fast charging, you have to use their cable. Now, it's a nice cable, but it is their cable. So I'm hoping as time moves on, something like a firmware upgrade can fix that, where I'm not fumbling for the Honor cable and I can just use another cable like from my HTC 10 or even my OnePlus 2. Like I keep mentioning, this is a solid build. It doesn't bend, it's very fragile, but it doesn't have any of the other issues of the phone being a little lopsided or a little bit too heavy. It's definitely very, very well weighted. You have your fingerprint sensor in the back, which is very common with Honor and Huawei devices, and it's extremely fast, as you can see right here. The other nice thing too is with respects to the camera, which we'll get into a little bit later on, is that they have a dual camera. Now this isn't like some of the previous dual cameras from the other competitors where they tried to do a depth of field trick shot where you can change the depth of field in post. This is actually two cameras, one is color and one is monochrome, where it takes one picture and it brightens up the color, and it takes the same picture simultaneously but in black and white. Therefore the end photo is much more vibrant. And with the screen resolution like this, 443 ppi, it's actually really nice looking. But like I said, we'll get to the camera. So just as it is, it feels really nice, very solid, and it's not too big. I mean, my main daily driver is the HTC 10, and it's actually the same screen size, but it's a little bit thicker. Mind you, has better specifications on some regard, but you know, if you're wanting to spend less than $400 and you want a nice screen and a good solid build, so far so good, go with the Honor 8. But wait, there's more. The Honor 8 is running Android 4.0. The Honor 8 is running Android 6.0, and there hasn't been any news as to if they're going to be upgrading to Android 7.0 anytime soon. And the fact that they use their own proprietary chipset, which is the Kirin 950, we're not quite sure if they're ever going to upgrade it to Android 7.0. In any event, it runs very smoothly. Even with applications like Pokemon Go and Snapchat, it's actually pretty breezy. Some of the other specs that I had mentioned, the battery is a 3000 milliamp hour battery. You have memory capacities of 32 or 64 gigabytes, and the memory capacity is expandable with micro SD storage. So that's the hardware. What about the software? Well, they used their Emotion UI. We'll go with that. And it's a little bit iPhone-ish. And what I mean by that is, well, there's no app drawer. So the second that you download an app, it's just going to populate on the main screen. Now, you can combat that if you don't like that by using a third-party launcher, or even go download the Google Now launcher, which is fine. The problem, however, is not just that, but you're still using the I can't say it properly. You're still using the Emotion UI when you swipe down from the top, and it has this weird notification / shortcut thing. So even with the Google Now launcher or the Nova launcher, if I want to get to my Bluetooth toggle or get to something else, I still have to swipe down and then click on shortcuts to get to that. It's a little annoying. I guess you can get used to it. The other nice thing that is very unique to the Honor 8 is that the fingerprint scanner isn't just a fingerprint scanner, it's a button. So you have to activate this in the Smart Assist part of the settings, and it's not very easy to get to unless you know where to find it. So when you do find it, you've got 3 options that you can customize the button. So for me, if I hold the button down, it activates the flashlight. If I double tap the button, it takes a screenshot. And then finally, if I just press the button once, it goes directly to the camera. Another innovative function with the Honor 8 is that you can actually use your knuckles for gestures, which is weird. And I asked them this, I said, why are you asking us to use knuckles? And I didn't really get a very clear-cut answer, but essentially with the knuckles, you can draw a shape of a letter like W for weather, C for camera, and E for Chrome. Okay, and it opens up those applications. I don't really see the benefit of that, but that's just something that you can do if you want. So as I mentioned, the camera are dual cameras on the back. They're dual 12 megapixel cameras on the back at an f-stop of 2.2, and they take really nice shots in standard daylight, not too bad in low light, although one thing about the camera is that it is very, very cluttered with Huawei's or Honor's own kind of filters and customizations as to what else you can do with the camera. There's light tracing mode, as you can see here. There's monochrome mode, so you can take black and white shots without having to throw another filter on there. I mean, you guys have seen this with other manufacturers as well too, but Honor really prided themselves on having one of the best cameras on a smartphone without having to go to a DSLR. As an owner of a DSLR, I see what they're going for, but there are definitely some shots, even in the Pro mode, which this offers, where a DSLR has a little bit more control of the field that you're trying to convey or capture in your image. And then the last thing is the front-facing camera on here is pretty good, 8 megapixels, and it even has a front flash. Kind of similar to what the HTC 10 and the iPhone does in regards to the screen itself will flash a white kind of, well, flash, and that acts as a flash. It's okay. It's, kind of, as you can see here, kind of washes you out, but it does what it's supposed to do. And in a dark lidded area like a club or something like that, you can take some nice pictures. Battery life was phenomenal. Speaker was okay, could be a little bit louder. And when you listen to music and you want it to, turn it up, so to speak, or turn it, what's the term? If you want to make it go louder, it gets really tinny and you can't really hear the bass whatsoever. So either get some Bluetooth speakers or just don't use it at all. And it's definitely a fingerprint magnet. I mean, just holding it here in front of for you guys, I can already see that the FBI would be able to pull my fingerprints off this thing with no problem. Now, in the package they also gave us this thing, which is a fingerprint magnet in itself, but a klutz like me definitely can't go naked. Now the big question is, should you get this? Well, it's hard to say. Just in the past few months, there are 3 devices that are readily available almost worldwide. You've got this, the Honor 8, but then you've also got the OnePlus 3 and the Axiom 7 from ZTE. Now the Axiom 7 and the OnePlus 3 both sport a 5.5-inch device, so that's already a bigger screen. The Axiom 7 has a 2K resolution screen, 20 megapixel camera. The camera on the OnePlus 3 is phenomenal from what I hear as well too. I haven't done a review on that just quite yet. But just specs alone, it seems as though that going with a ZTE device or a OnePlus 3 device, you're going to get much more bang for your buck. That might be true, except for one thing that people seem to be overlooking, and that's support. Huawei's been in the business of mobile devices for quite some time, just like ZTE. But in the mainstream sense of the world, we're starting to see ZTE get a little bit more spotlight. And same thing with Huawei thanks to their partnership with Google. But Honor is Huawei, but it's not in the spotlight, so to speak. But because they do have that relationship with Google, one could assume that they would be able to get those security updates a lot quicker. And because it's an unlocked phone, you don't have to worry about going through your carriers. Also, Android 7.0. I mentioned it's a possibility it might not come to the Honor 8 because of the Kirin 950. But when it comes to ZTE and OnePlus, we don't really have a very good, viable track record of them updating Android, let alone the security updates. So although the ZTE Axiom 7 looks a little bit like an HTC device, I would kind of have to go with that one. Although I do really like the way that the Honor 8 looks. It's got 15 layers on the back of it. It's so beautiful. If you're not worried about security devices or getting updated to the next level of Android, definitely look at the OnePlus 3 or the Axiom 7. However, for the money that you're going to be saving and the potential more reliability that you're going to be getting because of the partnership that Honor and Huawei have with Google, I'd say to take a look at the Honor 8. So that's what I think. If you guys have any other questions, concerns, or you think I'm totally wrong, leave them in the comment section below. Love to hear the feedback. Thank you very much. And the Honor 8 was given to me by Huawei Honor from the event, but this is not a sponsored post. This is not a sponsored vlog. And I will talk to you guys in the next one. Bye.